you're currently or often get stuck in that procrastination or even firefighting dynamic of tasks, where either you can't keep up with everything that's on your plate, or it feels like there's nothing on your plate until everything's on your plate. There's one clear solution to all of it in four different simple boxes, and it will change the way you look at a to-do list forever and make it that you can actually achieve the things you say you're going to. Now, that simple box is only this thing, and it's called the Eisenhower Matrix. And how it works is basically it allows us to see the difference between having all the control in the world and feeling like we have control in the world, but actually going nowhere. So as you can see in the top box, it says crisis, or for most of us, chaos. And that's because you are in the it is very urgent and it is very important section. The problem with that is if we only ever get something done when it hits both of those boxes, you aren't really going to give it your full attention. That it puts us in chaos. It puts us in crisis mode. That is fight or flight to get something done. Now, the second part of this is that feels like you're being productive and you're always on the go, you're always doing something, and yet you never seem to really make progress. No matter how much you think you're doing, no matter how much time you spend running around like a headless chicken, that is because you're currently living in the interruptions section of this. Because you are currently doing stuff that isn't all that important. It clearly isn't because you're not seeing progress from it, but it's urgent. So there's a time demand on it that tells you that it needs doing right away. This typically comes down to things we've been passed on to us, tasks, jobs from employers, or even family members. And I'm not talking like life or death stuff that is clearly important to you. If someone goes, oh, can you wash this for me? Can you clean this? Can you just take a look at this? The whole, have you got a minute? Can I just grab you for a minute? Can I grab you for a sec? Can you just look at this? Can you do me a favor? All of those things typically result in something that needs to be done urgently, but isn't all that important. The other box I want to touch on first and foremost before the important one is the one that none of us should ever really be in. It's distractions. It's things we don't need. It's the stuff that has no time demand on it. It's not urgent. It's definitely not important. It's a distraction. Now, this does not constitute a thing that we find as fun. If you like little things that allow you to wind down in time you've planned to wind down, is still important because it's our social and reward and downtime. Like going to play a round of golf for me isn't a disruption because it gives me something back to allow me to be able to be at my best to do something else. However, if I sit on my phone just scrolling through cat dog videos and random nonsense that actually adds nothing to my life apart from being a distraction from stuff I should be doing, then you've got a problem. You're distracting yourself. But if you're distracting yourself and the stuff you should be doing, why are you even there? It's called distraction for a reason. Now, the utmost, most important box in all of this, and the solution to everything we're talking about, is goals and planning. This could be health and fitness. This could be work. This could be life. This could be family, anything. If it is a task on a list that needs doing in some way and it's important to you, then it's here. The only thing is it's just not urgent. And the problem with something not being urgent is we think, it can wait. We don't need to worry about it. We don't need to. That's fine. Until if there is an actual set date on it, it just hasn't appeared yet. That slowly starts to sneak up until it's in crisis. Now, if you've got something that feels important to you but doesn't need doing yet and does have a date and you're like, I can put it back, there's loads of time left, and then catches up and you're in crisis mode, you're probably not going to do it to the full extent of what you wanted it to. And I'm thinking from my personal experience of people who've worked with things, if you have an event coming up or there's something you would like to train or work towards, or even a holiday that you're trying to lose weight for, if you're like, it's fine, I've got loads of time left. If that time then sneaks up very quickly and you said 6 months prior to a holiday, I feel like I've got a stone to lose. And then 1 month before you go on holiday, you've still got a stone to lose. Congratulations, you've now put yourself in crisis point where it's probably not going to happen. The problem is you'll now convince yourself that you're the problem because you couldn't achieve another goal. And it's true. You couldn't, not because you weren't capable of doing the things it took to do it, but because you put it off for so long. That is the same for any goal that is quantifiable. The same if you were to try and sign up to races, runs, events, training, anything. Your goals are built on things and habits you do over time. If you wait to start them, you either push back the date in which you achieve it, or it's unachievable in the time you've now given yourself. And the best way to think about this is, if I put you in a box room and took away your oxygen, you would realize very, very quickly that that is both urgent and important, and you would want it back. Crisis. Take away oxygen for a matter of minutes, and you will enter crisis very, very quickly. If we do the same thing but take away water, you will realize pretty quickly that it's both urgent and important, and you're in crisis. You're in stress, fight or flight. If we do the same with food, it might take a few days, but you'll realize within the first day that it's very, very important and urgent, and you will want it, crave it, need it, and you'll be in crisis, fight or flight. You are literally trying to survive. If I take away movement and exercise, if I put you in a box room, maybe put you in front of a laptop or a computer, and pay you a little bit of money, maybe between the hours of 9 and 5, maybe 6 days a week. See where I'm going with this? Take away your movement, and how quickly do you realize that it was important to you? Probably not. It's not very urgent. You can offset it. You can wait. You can be like, no, it's all right. Let me just get through this. Let me get through this quarter. Let me get through this task. Let me get through this job. Let me finish these things that typically land on the urgent spectrum, whether they're important or not, and you try and just do the things that need doing now, most of the time for someone else, that you put off the thing you need for you that's important because you don't think it needs to be that urgent. The problem with that is, by the time your health and fitness becomes urgent, you've crossed a boundary. It's like trying to lose that weight for that holiday and now realizing you've not got enough time and too much weight to lose. If your health and fitness becomes an urgent and important crisis task, you've had to sit down with someone, and probably of a medical profession, or even it might just be in a mass amount of overweight you've gained to realize I need to make a change, and you've got a big uphill to climb. And you'll know if you've been there, because that is usually what kickstarts people into making change. And it can be stopped plenty of time in advance by just saying, this is important to me, and I'm going to set myself mini goals to make it relatively urgent. So if you know you want to achieve a weight loss goal or an event goal within a 6-month time frame, shorten it. Set yourself something within 3 months, set yourself something within 1 month, and then weekly goals, and tell yourself this needs doing this week. So it's now urgent towards an important task, because that little bit of urgency will give you the capabilities to go, oh, I do need to take this on because I am going to achieve X, Y, Z, and I need to hit this by this point. Make it important and urgent to you. The same ways we breathe, the same ways we drink water, and the same ways we eat food, we need to move for our physical well-being and our mental well-being. If you want to achieve your goals and stop firefighting or even procrastinating until it's too late, start putting a time on the thing you're going to do, labeling it as important in your life, and making it short enough with mini wins and goals. I like to call them stepping stones, that you can achieve them bit by bit, and that creates consistency. The win isn't the end goal. That is actually the victory lap. If I train for another marathon, I will train for another marathon, I like the idea that the 42 kilometers at the end isn't the actual event. That start line is your finish line and victory for doing the training to get there. You don't just fall into a marathon. You train, you work hard, you get there. You don't just willpower your way through being healthier and fitter. You actually physically get there from doing the work to achieve it. Now, you will need willpower to physically do the steps and go through the stepping stones or that flight of stairs, one step at a time, whichever metaphor suits your brain best. But you're going to have to prioritize your needs to be there for others. And usually what you tend to find is the distractions in life and the people that need you, which have the very urgent, not important stuff that needs you, you can be present for. Because if you lose presence, because you're always firefighting, stressed, and you can't remember being where you are, when you are, and where you left your keys, it's probably because you're living too much in crisis. So prioritize what you need ahead of time, set mini wins and goals to get there, and then use that to build a big goal. Because at the end of the day, you'll take stress away from yourself, you'll feel better overall, and you'll achieve everything you ever said you would. So give this a goal next time. Put this box out, write everything that's in your brain of things you think you need to do, tasks, to-do lists, even house, jobs, and everything else. Are there also some of these sections that if it's urgent and not important to you, can you give that to someone else? Can you make that someone else's task? And I don't mean burden someone else with it, but like, can you bring in, if a house is messy all the time, you've got kids to chase, if you had to be in work and you had your child, you would find somewhere that child can go, nurseries, play areas, kids clubs, things like that, grandparents. You find people to help, ask people to help you, or find the place that you can then use to help with those things. Because sometimes also offloading things that we don't need to do, but are tasks that just need to kind of get ticked off, can also help us overall. Or get the accountability or systems in place to start doing the things you need to do earlier than they are required, because then you'll achieve them ahead of time and either be smashing life, or you just can do things effortlessly without using as much energy or living in fight or flight as much.